Hey guys, welcome back to Brick System Brothers. My name's Nathan Masters. Now this is not very often on our channel that we do this, but I'm taking another look at 60271. The city set that was revealed was like a week ago now, week and a half. This set caused a little bit of a stir because preceding any announcement or indication from LEGO, this just kind of randomly showed up in a store in Denmark at the Legoland there. So it was kind of a surprise to the LEGO community. It came out of nowhere, and the biggest point of contention was that little yellow train right here was kind of misleading on the packaging. A lot of people got excited for a monorail. As people kept on looking at the boxes, and actually in the video, the first video that we did about this, you take a close look, it's not a monorail, it's just some kind of clever box art. LEGO being a little bit sneaky with their design, graphic design here. So Zusammengebaut is a German LEGO website and just means assembled. So basically another version of a news site, a LEGO blog. And I like to peruse this site. It's often they do get information out pretty early compared to some other sites, and they also have some nice takes. I think Germany is still one of the largest LEGO markets in the world, so definitely worth checking out this site if you're following that kind of thing. And they're just prowling the LEGO site official, and as soon as this went live, this blog, Zusammengebaut, basically made a little publication. I got a notification, so yeah, just wanted to bring you guys up to date with what we know. The official name is indeed Main Square, so that was one of the questions that we had at first. In our original pictures, all we could see was the 6 Plus and the 60271 set number, so we didn't really know if Main Square was an official name or just something that it was going to be called until we knew. Now that is on here for sure. It is 1,517 pieces, so pretty good bulky center city piece to kind of get something going in the middle of a city. And we'll look at a couple other sets that compare to that in a sec. Our price point for the US is $200, like I guessed. Initially I got that by converting the known price in Danish money over to the US money. It was about 220 at the time of conversion, so knowing that LEGO is usually rounding down to, at that price point, a pretty large whole number. $200 was my guess, and yeah, that's pretty much confirmed here. This is the official LEGO site, and it is listed as coming soon on September 1st, 2020. So probably my guess is they made this available at the Denmark LEGO store to kind of release with the August wave, and then it's going to see global release in September. And this, I think, has been confirmed to be a D2C, which stands for direct to customer. So probably we'll only be able to pick this up in LEGO brand retail stores and online. I would be surprised to see this in Walmart, A, because of how big it is, and B, because we haven't seen a lot of advertising for this set in particular. Alright, let's look a little bit closer at kind of 2 or 3 things here. The Tram, aka the monorail that caused so much confusion early on. Here we see it in all its glory. It's a pretty good design. We're using our new train cockpit front and back elements. We see these in the passenger train from last year. This yellow is a new color for the mold as far as I'm aware. It was also first done in our light orange and our dark blue were the colors on the passenger train. So a little bit funny transition at the top of the windshield here, but otherwise pretty sleek design, just a little bit bulky. And then looking really close at our undercarriage, we can see that we are using our old train wheels. Let's see if LEGO will give us a larger image here. So our little small axle connection train element wheels here, and these do fit on our standard LEGO track, but there's obviously no track included in this set. It's just kind of shown here up on a digitally added raised platform. So in the official image of everything that is available and included, there we see the tram, and there's obviously no track included at all. So yeah, a bit of a letdown. I think especially considering our piece count at about 1,500 with the price point of 200, there's definitely a little bit of room here to include track elements. Even if it was just a circle, I think that would be justified in the cost. And you start to ask, well, where's the rest of this extra cost coming from? Well, this is, interestingly enough, one of our sets with named minifigures based on the Lego City Adventurers show on TV, which I haven't watched at all, so I'm not really familiar with what's going on here. But yeah, Lego has put a lot of effort into these minifigures, and they tie into a storyline. So they have names, they have backstories, they have, like, this vehicle is apparently featuring the limo, the quad. All of these are kind of tied in. So maybe keeping that consistent is an extra cost in there. So let's see, we've looked at Zusammengebaut. Basically everything that's here is also available to see on Lego, and now on Brickset also has all 20 of these official images, including these. Okay, these blueprints have been showing up in pretty much every Lego set this year, including our 18 plus. So 18 plus is kind of where I'd expect to see this kind of thing from a design standpoint, because it adds interest. But in our city sets and our hidden side sets, it's kind of thrown me for a loop. So I'm wondering if this is just kind of a new aspect of the design side of things. So yeah, these are all on Brickset now. Not really any reason to go over to this site if you don't want to, except for this interesting presentation of the set. And this is what I wanted specifically to mention in this video, because it is significantly different from our first announcement and our first look. So this is Lego's official reveal. This was on their social media pages, Facebook, Instagram. Really stylized images here. And I'm actually having a hard time telling if these are digital photographs or digital edits of, like, if they built this set, this scene background, and then put the physical Lego model in the scene and took pictures, or if this has all been rendered digitally with this kind of stock stuff added in. The grass stuff in the hills makes me want to say that this is a physical tabletop display somewhere that they took photographs of and then added all this stuff in, or maybe this was a printed out background. But this is kind of a new presentation style for Lego. Maybe not even new, maybe it's something that we haven't necessarily seen since the really early days of the town plan layout, where there's actually this mat was included in the set to enhance that play value. You're supposed to use HO scale cars to drive it around. There weren't minifigures back in those days, so you're just building a city layout. You would make the buildings out of Lego pieces, and then the HO cars would be the scale of the city. So haven't really seen this kind of presentation with this backdrop and this layout here, raised up bases and all of this. And even though we have seen the city backdrop and stuff, the level of detail with the grass and the clouds, and then even these trees being like a different style, is just really interesting to see. Like, makes me wonder why Lego is going this direction. This kind of stuff we see all the time. This is your product placement in like a house environment, like in a living room. You can kind of see in the background, oh yeah, there's a window and a little chimney over here. So this is up on your dining room table, but this is completely different. So having this layout style advertising release material, that's pretty interesting to me. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I'm not opposed to it, but I am curious to where this is going to go beyond just this city set, or for that matter, any city set related to the Lego City Adventurers theme. So, the final detail to make a note of before I go look at the other two old city squares is not really visible in these pictures, but the statue in the center of town. Let's go look at the ones on Brickset, because those you can really get going here. All right, let's pull this all the way up. And here we have our Robin Hood statue. Looks like he's in handcuffs. But the most interesting part of this to me is the light bluish gray Forestman hat element making a new appearance, I believe. I don't think we've seen the element in this color before. But yeah, this element shape dates all the way back to the Forestman figures from the 80s and 90s. And I think it's probably going to be an updated mold. Possibly in some of the early collectible minifigure lines, there was something like this element used. And now we have it in light gray for the Forestman statue. I'm just going to call it Arrested Robin Hood because that's what it looks like to me. But yeah, 14 minifigs in total. I don't know if that's counting the statue or not, but some of the other stuff that was pointed out going on here is like rescuing a cat with a helicopter, maybe not the brightest idea. So again, tying this back into the TV show is where a lot of the source material is coming from. So it might be worth it to be invested in that to kind of know what's going on. If you want to know what's going on, I don't think you necessarily need to know what's going on the TV show to enjoy this set. Although $200 for a starter, city starter, 1,500 pieces, maybe a little bit steep. To see what I mean, let's go back and compare to one of our older city square sets. This one very similar in terms of subject material. In piece count, it's actually a little bit higher, but this sold for $10 less than our current one. So, you know, if you want to account for inflation, this was 5 years ago, so yeah, maybe $10, I could give you that there. But what we don't see on this box is any pretense of a monorail. It's very clearly stated that the tram is a tram running on the streets, on rails that are definitely not Lego. So a little bit more straightforward in the marketing packaging department in terms of what's actually included in this City Square set from 2015. Yeah, pretty nice. The Lego store I think was a big hit to get a little. It's not even modular. It's just almost a facade of a Lego store in Lego form, and then kind of a little coffee chain outbuilding, a little depot shelter, and the car dealership. So yeah, really interesting builds in this original City Square set. If we go even farther back to 2010, there was a transportation theme set with another similar tram style vehicle. So Lego hasn't really deviated from their styling of these vehicles all that much. And again, in this one, very straightforward depiction of what this is, not pretending to be a monorail. And in Lego's defense, let me just play this card because I don't necessarily think Lego was trying to make people believe that there was something in this box that there wasn't. I think that's just the way that they decided to display what is included without really crowding up the front of the box as much, because by putting it up above and behind, you're able to include it on the cover art but include it in a smaller, unobtrusive way. So, you know, whether they intended to make this look like something more than it was or not, you have to kind of look at the reception. A lot of people upset that it's not a monorail. Where I'm coming from, I just want to say, you know, before you jump to conclusions, guys, really look at what's actually going on here. I think if you spend more than 20 seconds looking at the box, you'd be able to tell that this back here is not built out of bricks at all. It's clearly got this kind of mottled surfacing and not really congruent with what we know Lego box art to be. If Lego is trying to say that there was any kind of track system or elevated system included, this would be much more obvious and prevalent in the display of the box art. I think if Lego decided to include a monorail in a city set like this and include everything else that's here, we'd actually see a much heftier price tag because it would cost more to develop, especially if they were going to do something other than our standard 6-wide rails. If they were going to design a new standard for a monorail, the development cost on that would be pretty high, and I think it would actually be debuted in a standalone monorail set, possibly included with other sets like this a year or two after its debut. So not really surprised at all that we're not getting monorail. I know a lot of people want it. I'm not saying Lego shouldn't make a monorail, but I'm saying before you go attack Lego for making this product look like something it's not, maybe consider that this set is trying to do a lot of different things and pull it all together, and a monorail would be a pretty hefty addition to something that's already got a lot going on. Yeah, and at the same time, I do want to put a little criticism out there on this set design. The town hall does have a decent main floor, and the office up here, but the sides are just 2 bricks deep, a little facade. There's not much going on. There's like this 2 brick storage area underneath in the bottom. Yeah, for $200, I feel like there could have been a little bit more effort put into the design, especially for our main town hall building. But again, not going to be really picky on this because it is supposed to tie in with the TV show. And having not seen the TV show, I can't necessarily put a lot of criticism forward. That seems to be one of the more important aspects of the set, to include these named characters and their storylines, not necessarily focusing on the actual buildings this time. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on 60271. In addition to my initial thoughts on our first video, I did want to really highlight the interesting direction Lego has gone with their presentation style that I looked at briefly. The new Forestman element in light gray, maybe not new, but worth mention, and clear up that our official name has been released. Main square, over 1,500 pieces, and an interesting city square set. Not something that I will be picking up now that we know for sure it is $200. I just feel like if I have $200 in the Lego budget, that would be better spent on something else. But if you are just starting out in City, or you're buying this for younger kids, I think it would be a hit, especially if they are familiar with the Lego Adventurers TV show series. They know the characters, they're going to love it, especially being able to act out scenes from the show with these dedicated vehicles. You know, catching a cat with a helicopter. There's no way you're going to see that in real life, so you might as well make it out of Lego, because that's what it's all about. And some of the stuff I might try to pick up secondhand on the secondary market, but not in any rush. I'll be curious to see some of the reviews coming out when this does see its release in September this year. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time on Brick System Brothers.